Alright YouTube, we're back. The furnace is running in the background. I went ahead and pulled the timing cover off, and the harmonic balancer, the alternator bracket, and then the timing cover. It's all, it's super easy. If you have not one of these sets, because it only has like two sides, unless your pulley had like just two holes straight across, this one might work, but mine had three. This is it right here. So it's good. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to change this because this rubber is really hard and cracked and kind of pressing out. So it's probably a good idea to change this. But all I used was this old steering wheel puller that's all bent up, and some carriage bolts because they were the only ones that I had enough of that were the same length and in the threads to thread in right here. So I used them, and then I had to put a washer in between this beat up mushroomed out screw to be able to get it off of there. And then it fit right, the end of that thing fit like right up underneath here, so I just had to like use a wrench, and I got it off eventually after finding the right washer. I'm going to put this back on here though, because to make sure that I know that that's where it goes. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and order new gears and everything, timing gears and timing chain, plus the little tensioner thing that goes like right down inside of there is broken, so I need to get a new one of those with the kit. But these teeth, they're not super bad, but bad enough. I mean, I can feel it catching on the end of this little pick. Just lightly go across. There's some nastiness up on there. You can really, I think you can probably see it better there. So yeah, so we're gonna replace this just with what's on here. I guess they make like a double like sprocket style gears. It's, I think the chain's a little bit wider, and then the gears are like, are split, but it's like two gears together, and then the chain, both gears, and then the chain rides on them, and those are supposed to be stronger, I guess. But yeah, this thing should be plenty strong. But I was playing around, and that's quite a bit of slack up in there, and I don't know if that little tensioner thing actually does anything to help that. I don't know. Quiets it down maybe, but we're just gonna change it all. So, but I'll have to order that stuff, so we're gonna have to wait. But I did get a torque wrench. This is a Duralast from AutoZone, so it'll do the torque. So we'll get the head torqued on and everything, and continue on. First, I gotta pull that bolt all the way out, and I'm going to run like kind of small wire brush down through there and clean up all that Teflon tape and stuff, and then we'll continue on with this thing until we can't anymore. So I'll bring you guys back though, and we'll torque that head on and everything. Alright guys, we're back. Some good news before the upsetting news. Got a new axle here. Well, new to me. It's a 14 bolt out of an 85 3/4 ton pickup, single rear wheel. Gonna have to look for lockers and figure out the gears and all that stuff. We'll probably do disc brakes, but this one will fit up with that one really nice as soon as I knock those little dually stick out things spacer deals off, and it'll match up with this one just fine. But we're going to build these up instead of the other ones for the Gold Jeep, because while I want to widen the wheelbase of the Gold Jeep, I want to kind of keep it somewhat narrow, and I think these two axles will do it. I wish Aux Locker would come out with a cable locker for these. They said they were going to do it like several years ago. I haven't seen anything else on it, but hopefully they come out with one, because I like the idea of their cable lockers for both the front and rears. So keeping my fingers crossed that by the time we get around to doing this, they'll come out with something. Otherwise, I want an e-locker, but I don't know if they make one. But anyway, so there's some good news. Now let's go into the garage and I'll show you the upsetting news. All right, here we are in the garage at the blue Jeep. So the head is torqued on. The push rods and rocker arms are all on there. I didn't want to show you guys all that, but I will explain. I torqued all these down, all the head bolts. This one, like I said, they said before that use Loctite on it or whatever. But then I got to thinking, I was like, well, Loctite kind of melts with heat. And so I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use Loctite anyway. So I got to looking around, and a lot of guys that build like higher performance engines and stuff were swearing by this stuff, high temp thread sealant, and then also that aviation Permatex stuff, gasket sealer, which I got some of that too. It's just not available right here, but we're going to use it for these surfaces, at least to keep the gasket on the timing cover side, and then we'll bolt it up. But I got the new timing chain and sprockets in. I went ahead and put them on. But before I put them on, of course, I aligned it. Now, in one of the other segments or other videos, I was kind of wondering, I was kind of thrown off by the timing mark for the cam was up here, and then the timing mark for the crank was like in its position. Well, I should have thought about it a little harder, but I went on the forums, and I probably could have figured it out on my own, but when I looked on the forums and figured it out, what they were saying is it made super, total sense, is that since this is a smaller gear, it's going to turn more times faster than this one, because it's a bigger gear or sprocket. So all I had to do was come out and rotate this a few more times, and slowly that thing, whichever way it turns, came around and then lined up. So I got them all lined up. They're actually almost perfectly aligned right here. They're pretty well aligned. I even jumped a tooth and back and forth, and that's the closest I could get them, is right where it's at. So I got that all tightened up. But like I said, before I put these on, I cleaned all these surfaces. I used a combination of a scraper and the wire wheel on that drill that I've shown you before. So everything was going good. I was super happy, getting excited, and I should know better, because then I got up around this area on the water pump housing, and I'll let you guys see it for a moment. Probably by now you've probably noticed, definitely noticed that one. There's a crack, and you probably noticed that one there. That one right there kind of angles off, and I believe it runs up alongside this surface here, but it disappears behind some webbing and an orifice back up in here. So I need kind of a borescope to send back up in there and look. While I am concerned about this one, I'm not as concerned with this one. I mean, I guess depending on if it goes into this, because the cylinder wall is behind there, and that could be a bad thing. But this one, it goes in and around, and try to do like everything. This magnet on this light wants to just pick up everything. So you can see it there. It goes up kind of below and behind that bolt sticking out, and then disappears up around behind it on the left. And then over here on this side, see if I can get some light for you guys without blinding you. Okay, so and then you can see, you know, it's broken through here, and it comes around here. You can see that, and then goes up around to about here, and then you kind of start losing it right up in here. But I think it doesn't. I don't think it spiders off. I think it goes right in up against this rib here. So my idea is it's not going to hurt anything. I don't think. Can't be any worse. The backup plan is to pull the engine out of that white Jeep for this. But we're going to try to repair this in here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to figure out where the crack ends on this side. I'm going to keep investigating this one, but we're going to find out where it ends, and then we're going to drill through it, stop drill it, take a steel rod, mild steel rod, and make a dowel pin that we can punch in there and swedge in there. Then we're going to take the die grinder, and we're going to grind and make kind of a channel and follow the crack. And we're trying not to go all the way through into this area, but we're going to get pretty darn close. And but we're going to cut through here, and we're going to get as close to this edge as we can. And then we're going to take my TIG welder. I got that in. So there was some good reviews on that one, so that's why I bought it, and plus it went on that sale. So we're going to try it out. I need to get the correct tungsten, the correct rod, and some argon gas. So I'm probably going to get a big tank of argon because I want to do my welding for aluminum. But anyway, back to this. I got to get all that stuff. A lot of the guys on the forum for welding cast iron were saying use the 55 high nickel rod, or I think it's the 55 is the designated number. They were saying to use that one, but I watched a video of a guy repair a hole in an old tractor block, kind of like what I have on the old Comanche block. They took a piece of steel plate, cut it out to like the hole size, but left kind of a gap most of the areas, just to it was close in a few areas so that they could get a good tack on there. And they beveled the edges, and then they welded it with a 77 Muggy Weld arc welding rod. And in order to use it with the TIG welder, you got to take the rod and drop it in like a bucket, I think, of water to knock the slag off, and then you scrub up the rod with SOS pad or something, kind of clean it up. And then you can use it for TIG welding. So we're going to do that. We're going to try to save this block. And then what we're going to do is we'll fix everything else after we get that welded. We'll put it all back together, and I'll drive it around. I'll drive it around the block and around the neighborhood, kind of close by. Get it registered or whatever, and I'll drive it around before we end up selling it, because I want to make sure that it's going to be a good vehicle. And but yeah, so we're going to try to fix it. So stay tuned for that. So if you'd like, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay tuned for this, because as soon as I get the bottle and all that good stuff, we're going to jump back on it and try to save this block, and try to do it while it's in here. We'll remove all that stuff, like the exhaust manifold and then we'll use aluminum foil and a heat shielding blanket, like a fiberglass blanket, and we're gonna try to do this somewhat old new school, I guess. But anyway, that's it for this video. Stay tuned, and till next time, y'all take care now.